my FL Studio pirating story. Nobody else did that. That's why that video has 720,000 views. I wish it didn't come with my unibrow, but it happened. But brands left and right started hitting me up, and when I got my first check, I thought it was a setup. Like one of my brands I work with all the time, I'm not gonna use their name, but they hit me up and sent me, it was like, we want to pay you this much to talk about our brand. I was like, this is a setup. Like, Image Line sent y'all, huh? I'm about to get in a whole lot of trouble, huh?
What's going down? It's DJ Payne 1 for Beatstars.com. This is a special second follow-up interview with Curtis King. He's a man who needs no introduction. You're an influencer, a teacher, a role model, and it's not easy to take on that educator role in the producer community. Believe me, I know.
Thank you.
So I appreciate your time. Let's jump right into it. Something a lot of educators in the independent music community preach is consistent, good quality content.
Right.
As pretty much a surefire method of building a brand and attracting fans. You really embody this principle. I watched your brand explode once you started releasing educational and motivational videos every day. And I'm looking at you like, damn, how is he doing this every single day? This is ridiculous, but you did it. What made you start, number one, releasing all that content on such a regular basis?
Because I knew I was at a disadvantage. I knew that most producers in this realm found success by doing FL Studio tutorials, kind of the usual stuff. Maybe they're exclusively beat visualizers and whatnot. And I know there's a lane for all that stuff, but the thing I had to search within was what's important to me. And another FL Studio tutorial about 808 sliding, it did nothing for me. It's 1,000 of those right now. How to tune the 808s. There's 1 million of those right now. Okay, but what about how do I make beats when I hate myself? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out here who can relate to that topic, but nobody's speaking to it because one, producers basically have been kind of given a stereotype of being, in the bedroom by themselves, working on music in the studio and not really being outside people. We're not really outgoing people. And of course, we continue to see people who break that mold and show you that it is a stereotype. And so I was like, you know what? We need content. Since everybody's keep talking about, we need to talk about mental health. We got to talk about mental health. Well, I said, I'm tired of talking about the necessity to talk about mental health. Let's break it down. Let's get to how do you fight through depression? How do you, what is the difference between depression, anxiety, and maybe just the need to just chill out, relax, get back away from all of the social media and just detox and figure out that maybe your issue, maybe your problem is not somebody else. Maybe it is actually you. And I felt like I came from a space of experience and enough, for lack of a better term, I guess, clout, because I had placements to speak to people in a way where they would respect it. And so I came from there and I said, you know what? I'm at a disadvantage. So not only do I have to deliver content nobody else is delivering that is true to me, but I have to deliver it at a pace that is better than those who are putting out beat visualizers on a regular basis. I need to release those like they release beats. This was my opportunity to work through my own personal issues by being very open. And then also, too, using it as an opportunity to show you, look, here's somebody that has a level of success that is different from yours, who went through a bunch of bull and still came out the other end. There's no excuses for you. And so I wanted to play really the big brother role. Sometimes it was more like the homie that's going to tell you the truth, tell you got a booger in your nose and going to tell you about that. I wanted to be that guy because everybody else was sort of like playing the YouTube. Not everybody else. Obviously, Payne 1, you were somebody that I seen, and I was so glad for your energy because nobody else was keeping it as real as you. We need you the same way we need a Busy Works Beats or other folks that present something different in the community that represents helping to balance you to become a better man or woman as a producer. And I think that's the bigger picture. So I never felt I just always been an open book. Like I don't anything that you know about me. I'm the type of person that, if I leave a mess in the middle of the street, I stand by it and say, yeah, that was me. I did that. You're not going to tell me before I'll tell you. I did it. It's me.
Well, I had that moment, too, where I felt at a disadvantage. I mean, I still feel at a disadvantage, honestly, because I'm not an FL user and I'm not, the most animated personality either. But just the sheer volume that, because I feel like I was one of the first people putting out that type of content on
Absolutely.
on YouTube.
I agree.
However, but I took a long break just because I didn't think that was something that I could build my brand off of. But at the same time, I think, and this the same mentality that people were expressing when they told you were way too late in the game. It's the same thing that I hear about every level of the music business or any business. But yeah, it's too late to sell beats online. It's too late to get in the industry. The industry's dead. Internet selling beats on the internet is dead. Everything's dead. You're too late.
These folks are not taking into account that every stone has not been turned. Every scenario, like we have a rap star, we have a young rapper that picked up a beat off of Beatstars and decided this beat kind of gives me a country feel. I'm going to now redo a country song, reimagine it, and then make it a trap song. And I think it has the potential of being one of the #1 hits in the country. Somebody did it. Somebody else might have been like, man, trap beats are dumb. They're dead. And then that person, Lil Nas X, came through and said, that's cool. You do you. I'm going to do me. Because all I got to do, I don't need 50% of the market to make a living at that. If you get 50% of the market, you got damn near a monopoly. Nobody's getting that. You only need 1%, 2%. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. I remember doing the stats when Nipsey Hussle put his $100 album and he sold, 1,000 copies?
He sold out, yeah. Within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours, but check this out. If you just check his Twitter following alone, I think at that time he had 177,000 followers. He don't need 10% of them people to buy that to make his 1,000. I think it was something like 0.0. I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but it was like 0.0017% or something like that. That being said, when I saw that, I was like, I get it, Nip. I get it. Like, I didn't know him personally. I met him a few times, but I was like, I get it from a distance as an independent artist and producer. You don't need, like, people are talking as if you don't get 100% of the market, if 100% of producers are not able to do this, then nobody can do it. And that can't be, that's the dumbest thing in the world to me. It's the most naive way to go about it. But I low-key sometimes want to let people believe that because it's like, cool, less competition. Feel that way. Yeah, you know what? Selling beats online is dead. You go do you. Well, I'm going to just come over here and continue to collect my checks.
What are some other changes you made over the last 2 or 3 years that really propelled your brand forward, aside from just putting out content all the time?
Turning off the YouTube voice. And everybody knows what I mean when I say the YouTube voice. There's certain people that you listen to them and they sound like a producer car salesman. I couldn't be that guy anymore. I felt like I started making videos playing the YouTube game, putting the clickbait up. And when I started feeling like I'm giving people more brownie than I am vitamin, instead of putting the vitamin inside the brownie, I felt like I needed to change. So one of the shifts I made was when I recognized that and I said, if I was watching this video, could I really have a change in somebody's life? And when the answer was yes, but it has a limitation, I had to go deeper. That's when I started offering one-on-one consultations. Right. And so then I had an opportunity now to sit face to face as we're sitting right now, talk to a producer and say, the answer to your problem is not more FL Studio techniques. You're not happy with life. Why? Because you validate other people's opinions with more value than your own opinion of your own music. You let them validate. You let them give you strength. You let them you're so concerned with them. You've never asked the question, do I like my own music? And that's such a problem that is so deeper seated than just, you can get 1,000 tutorials. That ain't gonna make you a better human being. The moment that you're able to make the connection that I'm actually depressed or I'm actually down because I've been fighting my whole life to get my mom or my father or my grandfather to respect what I'm doing in music. And I feel like they don't respect me as a man or a woman. If you're able to walk through that first, the beats will come naturally because it's a byproduct of an expression of you. It's a byproduct. And so I think a lot of producers get it wrong by trying to reverse engineer their careers by trying to tell you how to talk, tell you what's important, tell me what's important. But it's like, no, partner, I got mines together. That's why you're watching me. I'm not checking for you. But they come and they become, the YouTube philosophers and all that stuff. And I'm like, that was part of the reason too. Like, I was like, you know what? I got to get my ass off of here. Excuse my language. I got to get myself away from here and I got to start to create my own. And so slowly but surely, I started to align with people that really, really helped me get into that mindset and realize that this is not forever, man. At some point in time, you got to make a decision of when it's right to make a change. And so seeds got planted, but seeds take time to grow. And at some point, they started to grow and it started to say, you know what? You're not, this is not the space for you, right? Because being with YouTube, you and I both know there's a lot more at the surface than just hateful comments and trolling. There's a lot more that goes into it to put that work in. And the fact that people are giving you their time. Forget my money, my time I cannot get back. And so that being said, like you make those subtle shifts that end up making a dramatic change in your life. And I'm here for those all day.
Let me pick up on YouTube then. So something that really struck me about YouTube, and it took me some time to realize it, but it's right there in front of my face, has to do with data ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, as I speak right now, I'm inching towards 100,000 subscribers. Hopefully, I can.
Congratulations, by the way, man.
Well, thank you. I'm at like 70 something, but all this stuff was right, looking me dead in the face, and it's that if YouTube shut down next week, I would have no way to reach my tens of thousands of subscribers because YouTube doesn't allow me to own that data. They don't allow me to own those email addresses. They don't even show me those email addresses or phone numbers. Whereas, so on Beatstars, for example, every sale is tracked, and I can actually go in and export all of those data and break it down with names and email addresses, and I can actually use that data and transfer it to other platforms. With regard to data ownership, what's some advice you can give creators? Because I know that's a big part of you moving away from third-party platforms.
I learned this lesson from MySpace, man. MySpace taught us a valuable lesson. Shout out to Tom. That we do not own these spaces, that we are renting these spaces. And although we have these beautiful platforms, like I'm not mad at YouTube. I'm not mad at YouTube for changing. They got a lot of community guidelines that are changing. They're changing their identity because they're starting to level up. It was time for me to do the same thing. But what I could tell you is that you gotta realize everywhere that you're parking your anywhere you're parking your business where you gotta put your name after somebody else's name, it's not your space. Instagram.com/Curtis King. YouTube.com/Curtis King. That's not my space. It's not my property. And so when you realize that you're renting space here, you always have an exit plan in the back of your mind because you know that at the end of the day, probably the most valuable asset that you have are people's emails. And so I started asking a question too. This is a question every artist or producer that is watching should ask. Why is it that social medias don't have an email integration system like how Beatstars has it, to where you can connect it to your MailChimp, you can connect it to, your Get Response, whatever that you have. They have these apps for a reason because they want you to stay in touch with your customers. These social media say things like, we want you to stay connected. Yes, they want you to stay connected, but is it on their terms or your terms? Because all I'm saying is this. I'm not mad at a Facebook at all. They got to do their business. But if I have a skill set of collecting people and bringing them to this space called my page, and I've displayed this enough to where now you can put ads in front of it and it's profitable, why is it such a challenge for me to be in front of this audience that I collected? Why do I have to pay to get past 10% of my audience? Right? Why do I have to boost a post on Instagram to get to it's my audience. I had the skill set that brought them here. It was my videos that broke through the algorithm that you set. I did this. So why are you making it so difficult for me to take this audience off of your platform? Maybe because you don't want me to be off of your platform. So then I tell all producers, utilize them. Use them to the best of your ability. Use ads, but do not park yourself there. Know there's going to always have to be a necessity for a backup plan and for a general home to send people to, right? Everybody should have their own URLs in addition to everything else that they have going. I think that's important because anything can happen, right?
Okay, so I want to touch on that too, but we spoke about the customer data export feature of Beatstars, which I love. That actually, once I really figured out I could even do that,
right?
This is me admitting that I didn't fully know all the features of the platform that I use every day. That opened up a lot of options for me as a marketer.
Sure.
I mean, email marketing, custom audiences, all types of stuff. You just dump that data in and use it to your heart's content. That's like gold in our business. But that's a feature of Beatstars. We got to address the elephant in the room. Why did you make the switch to Beatstars?
You just gonna spring that on me? That's just gonna be there. That's how you feeling?
This is what my notes look like. So Whatever
It's all
happens,
good.
happens.
As I told, because the first person I heard from when I made that decision was obviously the owner of the company that I used to sell my beats on, and that's an obvious conversation. And I told him it was nothing personal. It's just that I felt like as my business evolved, there were certain features that were there on Beatstars that I had my eye on, and I really wasn't ready because I'm a creature that doesn't like change. I don't like dramatic changes unless it's absolutely necessary. That's one of my weaknesses sometimes. And so I started doing research. And actually, when I started doing my Beats episodes, I started to see like the flow of the pro page. I started to see like how the Beatstars loaded up, how fast these pages loaded up. And these are metrics that are in any businessman or woman understands how important these metrics are. How fast your Beat store loads up has a dramatic effect on whether or not you're going to make that sale of those visitors coming to your website, right? That's not to say the other one was slow, but this one was faster. And so I looked at that. Then I had a YouTube where I started buying a bunch of beats from the producers in my community. Just really, I saw you guys did that. And I was like, that's so dope. I want to extend the same thing and keep it going. Once again, I'm starting to see traces of, I liked it, the fact that they have a strong community that's all about taking care of everybody that's here. I think that's dope. Even the whole like giving people their plaques along the way for having a certain threshold. Seeing that even exists, to me, that's a company going above and beyond. And I feel like I'm always somebody that's trying to push. How can I get more value? How can I get more value? I saw that with Beatstars, and so I was buying beats online, and everybody was using different websites, and the competitors of Beatstars, a lot of them made the buying process extremely difficult for me to buy and not even difficult, just tedious. It was extra steps. And so I was like, damn, are my customers going through that? And obviously that's like, I feel embarrassed about saying that because every businessman, businesswoman, producer-nor, as I call them, you should be testing out your product. That's business 101. And so I started looking at it and I was like, man, there's an extra step before people actually go and check out the PayPal, right? They got to do this. They got to do. And I literally had bought 5 beats from 5 different producers before I bought 1 beat from another of the competitors. And I saw that and I was like, no. Faster load time. You got a stronger community and it's easier of a buying process. It's at least worth a try. So I opened up an account. I was making sales every other day without doing any kind of external ad promotion. Why? Off of the strength of your repost feature, off of the strength of the playlist feature. When something's good, it's just good, man. Like it's outstanding. It goes above and beyond. And not even a week later, y'all have me on the phone asking my opinion of, is there ways that things can be kind of improved? It goes above and beyond.
So speaking of another venture, this is another elephant in the room, but this elephant is wearing denim. Justin Timberlake, Levi.
I see what you did there. Uh-huh.
They had some, I try. They had some kind of partnership, endorsement situation. And you provided the soundtrack to that.
Yeah, man. So I can't speak into great length because it's obviously I said NWA, the NDAs. I wish they would make me sign an NWA. That'd be hilarious. But the non-disclosure agreement, I can't talk too much detail. All I can say is, as beautiful of an experience as that was, it reminded me that even that's not the world for me. Like the industry is just not the world for me. It's just that certain things are done in a way in which you have to be okay feeling like somebody else is telling you when and where to do things. Don't get me wrong. I'm so thankful for it. That was probably one of the biggest placements in my career. So that's a hell of a placement to say, all right, I bid you farewell. I'm out of here. But beautiful opportunity, even having JT show support on it and him telling through his people's like how much he loved the music of the track. And that's dope. Like those are some of the names that represent like another level in this industry, and it's super dope. But like I said, it goes back to the narrative we've been talking about, which is taking back ownership of what it is that you have. But all in all, man, great opportunity. Shout out to my brother Murs for even aligning it up for me and putting it on my radar. But it's one of them things where it's humbling. You're thankful for it, but it's also a reminder that you got more work to do.
Okay, so Merge made that happen. You didn't go through a sync house. You didn't go through a publisher.
Paying one, I don't look for none of that. I don't go looking for none of it. When I tell you, like, I'm all in on the other side, man, I don't go look. The last 6 years of placements, I've not made one phone call. Not because I'm cocky, but because when I feel like the moment that producers realize their power, when they go away from something, they start realizing that power turns into a gravitational pull, and the industry reacts to people that got movement. No matter where it's at, eyes are always on what you're doing. So producers, when you get into a space where you're like, I don't feel like I'm valued here. Everybody keeps trampling on me. Well, you got to go find somewhere to go build up your value. That may be on Beatstars. That may mean, you know what? I'm gonna put my head down. I'm gonna grind this out. I'm gonna rise above the ranks in here. And then when the next little Nas X comes and starts looking for beats, and you just happen to be the right place, the right aesthetic, that's another way to go about this industry. You don't have to go like the traditional way of having to be in a studio, and like it's so many opportunities. Like I didn't even know Beatstars had the feature of being able to submit for placement through the platform. That's nuts. I wish it was that easy back in my day when I first started producing. And
back to your quote: leaders anticipate,
losers react.
Losers react.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in terms of what you anticipate in this music industry, where do you see the music business landscape for producers changing or evolving, or whatever word you want to choose, over the next 5 years?
I think before we see an evolution in terms of the respective producers, I think what's going to happen is that the quote unquote industry producers and the internet producers are going to switch roles for a second. Right? They're going to switch roles. I think it's going to be a lot more. It's already happening. Industry producers are going to come on this side. They're going to start becoming the new YouTubers, and people are going to see a different level of value, because now these are people who've worked with, like, you know, people who are formidable names within the industry. And then the industry is going to look at these internet producers as new talent, as new energy. They're not the old guard. It's a new change. I think that's going to happen for a little bit. And I think both of them are going to end up unhappy. Then it's going to be a middle ground where folks are going to kind of, you know, migrate back and forth, or it's going to go somewhere else entirely. But, you know, I think all in all, you'll be okay, producers out there. You'll be okay if you start to follow with the compass of what makes you happy, rather than what's going to give me more clout. Clout is going to leave you in a depressing place. Clout seems like that's what everybody's after. Man, if you ain't got no clout, you don't got no power, and it couldn't be further from the truth. There's a lot of people out here that you look up to, producers or whatever, that got clout, that don't got a clout coin inside their pocket, because they ain't got no money. All they got is all they got is the fact that y'all retweet them a bajillion times and tell them how great they are. That's why they always talk to you, and they have time to talk to you, right? I ain't naming no names, but Pay One knows that energy I'm talking about. Folks,
I talk to a lot of people.
But no, it's the difference between educating people as you do and just getting on there and shooting the stuff. There's some folks who get on there and literally they just spend their time wasting other people's times with stuff that has nothing. They're just trolling. And I'm telling you, as much as we're going to look back one day at when all the studies come in about trolling, the pain, excuse me, lack of a better term, of the mental health issues that come from social media, nobody is going to suffer more from the research than trolls. They think they're the ones getting away with it because they're making everybody else's lives terrible. They're going to realize that all that nitpicking, all that pettiness, that stays in your body. That's how people in good health die of heart attacks and stress, because you're carrying that on you. You are literally going around trying to make terrible lives out of everybody else's lives. That has to have a physical effect on your body. That's something different. But I think that's really where I see the industry's going. But no, Payne, I wouldn't get on you, brother.
No, it's true.
Funny because you'll text me and be like, Curtis, man, you can't be responding back to these trolls. And I'll be like, all right. But then I'll be like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I need someone to send me those texts too sometimes. But definitely, I mean, I find that, and no, seriously, feel free. I find that you know, because it gets isolating sometimes. It's just you making beats, and it feels like you're connected to everybody, but there's still that wall between you and them, which is the internet. You know, sometimes it feels like we live on the internet rather than in our own respective cities. Let
me break it down for you for this. I don't know, this is not really producer related content, but it kind of is, because we're talking about the mental health of producers. But there's a book called Digital Minimalism, and one of the things that this author breaks down is the fact that because social media is still a very new thing, when you think about the grand scheme of things, a very new 7, 8, 9 year, there's not enough research on it to conclude the same things that we can conclude from like how war affected our grandparents today and how that trickles down. Like they have years and years of experience. We don't have all that research. So that being said, our brains are literally still evolving to adjust to social media. So that being said, this book talks about how our brains has not developed whatever muscle that is that can decipher between your mom saying, I love my producer's son, you're so amazing, and then the person that says, you suck and your mom is stupid too. You can't decipher between that because your brain sees two images that are the same size, text that is the same size, and it gives it the same value. The same way you walk in public and you see a stranger and they say, what's up? And you're like, who the hell is that? What you mean, what's up? All right, whatever, bro. But then somebody else that you do know says what's up, and it's one of your enemies. Oh, your mind can decipher the difference. On social media, your mind cannot always decipher the difference. It's not the fact that you're being sensitive or hypersensitive. We all have the same problems. That's why that negative comment from 2015 still stays with you, even if you get an abundance of love every single year. That's just our brains are readjusting and evolving with this beautiful world we call social media.
I mean, and then sheer volume too. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's human, and I think at a certain point we start looking at people who are more successful or who we perceive as celebrities and think, well, they're not really human. They're living a much better life than I am. So if 50,000 people all tell them, you're trash, go kill yourself, they're fine, they'll handle it. Like, I look at the I don't know anything about the James Charles dude, but he had millions of people sending him hate messages.
My wife know about him because she's in that.
She's in that world. Yeah.
She put me on the game. Like, she's like, he's getting ready to get dragged, and I was like, I know the word dragging somebody is like crucial in there, but people get used and abused like that, and the thing is, like, that exists in the producer world too. That ain't just a makeup world. That happened to me. I'm pretty sure we all had our stories. You stay around here long enough, people will find something to drag you for. They drugged me for the pirating, the FL Studio pirating videos, and it was just like, I feel like I was the first person that had the balls to just say, like, I messed up. I did something wrong. It was scary. And I made another change, and I realized, you know what? I'm a contradiction, and we're a contradiction. If all we do is complain about rappers always stealing our beats, but literally we're sitting on hot goods. No, it's not the same thing because you download it and it's free on the internet, bro. You justify it however you want. But if you made something and somebody takes it, raps over it, and they say, bro, it was a free download. No, that was my license terms. That don't matter. Nobody give a damn about that. So if that's the case, you got to understand, like, the contradiction in what you're doing and realize the game is just giving back what you give it. And until you go legit, until you flip the switch, you going to get what you give it. It's just what it is.
Did that create kind of a domino effect? Because so for people who don't know, what happened was basically, in a nutshell, you put out a video admitting to being in the wrong for pirating FL Studio. You actually might have gotten in some legal trouble with Image Line. Suddenly you parlay that very honest admission into a partnership with Image Line.
No idea that was going to happen. Yeah, I mean, and even that, I can't speak into detail with that. All I can say is that all those people who were, man, Image Line is in the room with them. They got a gun to his head. Like, come on, bro. Like, stop watching movies. Stop watching, John Wick. Sit down somewhere. Go make a beat. Like, go make some lo-fi and chill out. Because I look at that and I'm like, all of y'all got all these scenarios you think are happening. It's never that deep. Like, I read back on the email because they sent me another email recently basically asking me to delete comments where people were like, oh, a video about pirating? Cool. Let me share the program and help y'all pirate it even more. And it's like, I told them, you know what? I'll just disable the comments. But guess what? Because I did that, and because of the reactionary energy that exists in the producer neighborhood, sometimes they're going to be like, oh, he deleted it because he couldn't take it anymore. He's sensitive. We should troll him even harder. And it's like, that's that reactionary energy that's going to stop you from winning in this game. People ain't going to remember the people. They don't build statues for critics. I love Stephen A. Smith. He ain't getting no statue for being one of the greatest basketball critics. KD might. LeBron will.
Stephen A. Smith found a way to make a career out of it. You're not making a career leaving YouTube comments about producers.
So he might be the first critic that actually gives one. He might be. I'll give him that. Stephen A. Shout out to Stephen A.
He has information too, though, and he actually debates people live. So I'll give him extra credit for that.
Okay.
But was that a domino effect for you with partnering with other brands and companies that you wouldn't otherwise have had?
Payne One, it's the craziest thing, bro. I did that video expecting me to be like, I was gonna be damaged goods to every other brand in the world. Like I was like, bro, nobody's gonna work with me. But you know what? I would much rather, because the video started going viral and I was like, oh man, this is not what I wanted. Like I wanted to just talk to my YouTube audience and warn them. Then it started to get like, I made it to like the Pro Tools website. I made it to the Image Line. It was in the Image Line, like their community board. And like when I actually joined, like I was like hesitant to go in there because I was like, I'm finna get. And they did. I went in there. Some folks was in there like, oh, I can't stand these thieves. They're kind are all the same. And I'm like, what you mean they're kind? Like I just admitted as a man, I did something that you can't, like at that time you could not run a search and see my FL Studio pirating story. Nobody else did that. That's why that video has 720,000 views. I wish it didn't come with my unibrow, but it happened. But 700,000 views. And I'm like, fam, I am the most famous for being honest. And I still got dragged. And so, cool. That's cool. I'll take that. But the domino effect, Payne, I forget the actual numbers. I made a video about it. But like, if you see the jump in income from the 6 months before I did that video to the 6 months after, and how much of that was attributed to actual brands that said, look, brand to consumer, we respect your decision to do that. Matter of fact, because of your reach being so big and your influence being so, because they saw it. People started going legit. People started going and buying. They're like, I'm going to follow your way. Everybody wasn't being a jerk. Some people were like, I believe in that. I see what you're saying. There's a contradiction. I want to fix that. And so they did it. But brands left and right started hitting me up. And when I got my first check, I thought it was a setup. Like one of my brands I work with all the time, I'm not going to use their name, but they hit me up and sent me, it was like, we want to pay you this much to talk about our brand. I was like, this is a setup. Like Image Line sent y'all, huh? I'm about to get in a whole lot of trouble, huh? And no, it just kept happening. And the thing is, more opportunity came. And I'm not saying that you should pirate and then turn around and admit it to get these brand deals. I didn't care about the brand deals. At that point, it was more important for me to reverse my karma because I was making the best music ever after I got rid of it. I deleted all my drum packs. I deleted, even beyond just my music stuff, all of my video editing, all of my photo editing software. I got rid of all that and started. And I said, if I want the grind to be right, I got to flip the switch. I got to do it right. I got to flip this whole thing around. If I don't do that, it's no excuse why my career doesn't go the way I want it to, except for, my own wrongdoing. So I had to get out of that endless loop. And when I did that, man, my life honestly did change. And now, like, today is living proof, man. We've elevated it.
You have a lot. Normally I ask people their social media and their Beatstars page. I'm going to ask you those two things as well, but then I also want to ask how people can join your platform and how people can pick up your book.
Well, first and foremost, thank you, DJ Payne One. Thank you, Beatstars, for the opportunity to even speak about that. The first and foremost, social media is at Curtis King with 2 S's. What else did you say? My social media, my Beatstars, Curtis King. You can just search there. I'm right through there. That's the only place you can find my beats now. And in addition to that, my platform is called CurtisKingTV.com. It is a community of rappers and music producers. It is what I am calling the first healthy mental health space online for rappers and music producers to work through their biggest issues and to unlock the best parts of them as a human being. What that means, you got to come and find out. I don't even feel the need to sell it anymore because right now the community is so strong. The energy is good. And I just tell you this, if you come in there with that, what do you call that? Is it like SpongeBob text when you be clowning some of these trolls, Payne One?
I love that thing. I don't know why.
SpongeBob chicken text. All of y'all that don't come in here because I will shove that $20 so fast back in your pocket and give you a boot and ass. We here for people that want to be something more than just trolling. We want something more in life. So we have a very strict policy in which I got people in there that's like an army, man. They'll kick you out. They want to protect that space. And so if you need support, you need accountability partners, right? This is not BeatStars already is taking care of you when it comes to like selling beats and giving you the stats of how to be a successful businessman and businesswoman, but I'm not in competition with that. This for me is, let's focus on you mentally. Let's make that the centerpiece. And of course, some technical stuff, but really that's the centerpiece. And so it's the private community plus all of my courses. You can't buy my courses anymore. You can't buy my drum kits. You can only come in here and get them for free once you sign up for the membership website. That's that. But outside of that, man, that's all I'm at. CurtisKingTV.com. I'm not anywhere else except for Beatstars. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, once again, thank you. Seriously, my energy was here after talking to you. Now it's back way up here. It makes me want to do great things talking to you. So I'm afraid of what's going to happen if we actually do a podcast. But once again, thanks for sharing your experiences. Thanks for taking your time and doing this. And I'll check back in with you soon.